You create wealth, not by working, but by owning. And I will be 100% behind the economic development in Ward 5. On May 15th, remember, Frank Wiles, I will bring jobs and wealth to our ward. Thank you.
The next question we're going to Ms. Marshall, Mr. Hunter, and Ms. Gardner. Please explain your position and thoughts on the marijuana facilities coming to Ward 5.
One thing I learned in working in private business as the executive assistant to most of the principals of the companies that I worked for is that when you have a concern, you have to do your research. And in my research with marijuana facilities and the cultivating of marijuana, I learned that it's not just growing marijuana, having it grow outside. You have to have 7 strands of marijuana for the different illnesses that they're being grown for. I understand that there's going to be a heavy security on the cultivation centers. They're not going to be grown outside because the sunlight will kill them. And because there's different strands, it's not the kind that you typically hear about with people just smoking herb. I understand that in order for the public to get it, to get the marijuana, that you have to go through the dispensaries, you have to go through HHS, you have to have an HHS card, that it's not just anybody can walk in and get the marijuana. So what I'm saying is that there's a lot of... Sorry.
Thank you so much. I think this is a great question. I just wanted to start off by saying that I was the only candidate that actually bothered to attend the legislative hearing where the moratorium or the limit on cultivation centers was proposed. I was the only candidate that was there. But I'll take that one step further. I partnered with the Woodridge Civic Association and the South Central Civic Association to send a letter beforehand outlining our concerns. And to be quite honest with you, it was waste transfer stations yesterday, cultivation centers today, so you have to ask yourself, what's next? One of the things that I would do, we have to look at zoning overlays to protect the integrity of our communities. They want to abolish actually zoning overlays in our city government now, so that's something we have to be active on to champion and say, hey, we know we have commercial areas and residential areas, but we need to limit what can go into these commercial corridors that abut our communities.
It's no accident that the medical marijuana units are in Ward 5. It began with as Mr. Delano said, or Mr. Hunter, excuse me, said the waste transfer stations. Otherwise, translation, garbage. It came with strip clubs, garbage. It comes with the medical marijuana. It is the law. I am not against medical marijuana. To put that out there as gospel. I am not. It is the law. It does serve a purpose. It has a medical use. The concentration is the issue. The arrogance that no other wards are not worthy of having these units. 3, no one would ever think that it's going to happen in Ward 3. Never, 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 never. And so the arrogance that it could just be 5 has been a legacy that has been developed in this community for a while. So the natural sense is Ward 5, and that's what we have to put an end to.
The next question will go to Mr. Boston and Ms. Zapata. How will you be able, if elected, how would you balance the interests, competing, conflicting, and priorities among businesses, special interest groups, labor, and residents without putting residents at risk?
Again, my name is William Boston. I think when we look at all these issues, I think number one, we have to put the voters, we have to put us, the community, we have to put the community first. We've been left out, our voice has not been heard. They ran us over. They're taking votes while we don't have a councilman in office. The priority here right now is to let our voices be heard in the ward. That is the priority. Everything else is really secondary. I think once we start looking at, when you look at all the big business development, if you look at the small area plans, by the way, we have to have small area plans. In the Bates area, they have one in the budget, but it hasn't been funded. In Arboretum, they don't have one. And they have the McMillan Sand Filter site. The neighbors in Cheney Street haven't been heard from. What we have to do in the small area plan is go back. That's where the citizens, our voice is heard. And we have to go back and start over. Well, your voice has to be heard. With big business, like at 901 Monroe, when you look at big business, you also have to do a contingency plan for small business. There's no contingency plan for 12th Street. What's going to happen to the small business owners? We have to put in a contingency plan. Time. Again, my name is William Boston. Thank you.
My constituency is you, and you. And anytime you have to make a decision, you have to balance things. You have to make sure that the interest of the community comes first. But you also have to be an informed decision maker. And you have to inform your community of what the decision is you have to make so that they can help you make that decision. One of the things that we've recently done is developed an advisory council for the ward, which is something that I expressed to several people earlier this summer, that if I should run for council, I would want to bring all of the groups together in Ward 5 so that they would know what's going on before it happens. We have a history of finding out something's going on the day before it's going on, or the day after it happens. So everybody will be included.
At the chair's discretion, each candidate will be allowed 1 minute to answer the following question. If elected, how would you rebuild trust and confidence of all the elected officials representing Ward 5?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Frank Wiles again. Building trust. You're looking at a person that has been in business for 25 years. Always worked with the community, established his own credit report, pays taxes on time, pays corporation taxes on time. We need someone that understands being a citizen in this ward, taking care of your responsibility. And I feel that my credibility will make a difference. And by voting for Frank Wiles, you get what you pay for. And you will get a leader that you can trust. You will get a leader that you can trust. And I hope on May 15th, you vote for Frank Wiles. Thank you.
What's that word? Transparency. That's how you build trust. All of you don't know me. For those people who do know me, they know that I'm honest. They know that what I say you can bank on. They know that if I don't like something, I tell you I don't like it. But that doesn't mean I can't work with you on another issue. But I'm real upfront about who I am and what I do. And I think that as an elected official, you have a responsibility to make sure that your constituents know what's going on, that your office is open, that your books are open, and that the government is open for you to see what is happening with your tax dollars. And that's what I think you have to do to build trust. As time goes on, folks learn who you are and will trust you. But that public trust is something I hold dear and near, because it is what makes us.
Time, candidate.
Thank you.
Again, my name is William Boston. I think that when we look at this issue right now, how do you build trust? In my work, I'm a clinical therapist. I do a lot around relationships. No relationship can exist without trust. I think the simplest way is to just solve problems. If you solve problems, you build confidence. If you build confidence, you're backed up. If a man's word is no good, he's no good. And so the simple way, what I would do is go around in my first 3 months, we prioritize the top 5 needs in each community, place a timeline on it. So we have checks and balances. So that I come back in 6 months, we see where we are, we come back in a year, see where we are, we're solving problems in the community. That's how you build trust. You solve problems, it's simple. You don't get up here and do it. I always say the mouth will say anything, but behavior don't lie. So we have to get out here and do the work. There's work to be done in this world. There's work to be done. We have to solve some of these issues. So the bottom line is we have to get together and solve some of these problems. We have a lot of division right now. We have a great amount of issues facing us right now. This is not time to have a training ground. We need someone that can hit the ground, that can sit downtown and solve this. Thank you. My name is William Boston.
In terms of building trust, communication is key. I don't mean communicating when they passed the budget last year at, midnight almost? No public input, 200 pages? That needs to stop.